It began over a century ago when Friedrich Nietzsche proclaimed, "Man is something to be surpassed." He envisioned the Mensch, new human freed from the chains of tradition, morality, even biology. This radical call to self-creation cracked open the question, if we can transcend ourselves, what remains of our humanity? Fast forward to 1984, when Donna Haraway declared we had already become cyborgs, hybrids of flesh, metal, and cold. In her Cyborg Manifesto, she shattered boundaries: human, animal, organism, machine, physical, non-physical. In that shimmering space, identity becomes negotiable, and ethics becomes urgent. Today, the lines blur faster than ever. Brain-machine interfaces promise to heal paralysis, restore sight, even enhance memory. But as flesh fuses with code, questions multiply. When your thoughts pass to silicon, who owns your mind? And when your body becomes software, who decides your limits? CRISPR and gene editing open doors once reserved for gods. We can snip disease, sculpt intelligence, even design our children. A brave new world or a Pandora's box? If we engineer traits before birth, do we still inherit a shared humanity or craft a new species? And then there are the algorithms, silent judges of our online lives. They profile us, predict us, nudge our decisions, and even fabricate realities. Under their unblinking gaze, privacy erodes, bias embeds, and autonomy erodes. In a world watched by code, what does it mean to speak freely? Your digital self is no longer a mere reflection. It's a separate entity with its own rights, reputation, and reach. In social networks, algorithms clone our preferences, beliefs, even emotions, creating doppelgangers that speak in our name. But if that avatar misleads or harms, who answers? The human or the code? Our once singular identity fractures into many, and with each shard, the question of responsibility grows more tangled. Technological enhancements promise superhuman abilities: faster reflexes, sharper minds, disease-resistant bodies. But at what cost? When only the wealthy can afford to upgrade, society splits between the enhanced and the natural. What was once a shared human condition fractures into privilege and exclusion, raising the specter of a new eugenics. In a quest to transcend biology, we risk losing the very kinship that defined us. AI and robotics threaten not just jobs, but livelihoods, purpose, and community. As machines learn and adapt, entire professions vanish, leaving humans adrift. In this era of automation, what gives life meaning? If our work can be replicated in code, do we redefine ourselves as creators, caretakers, or something entirely new? The ethics of progress demand we ask, who benefits and who is left behind? We once feared tyrants with armies. Now we fear networks with lenses. Governments and corporations deploy surveillance avatars that know our faces, our voices, our habits. In this panopticon of pixels, freedom shrinks not in chains, but in our own tracked footprints. When every move is recorded, who holds the power, and who holds us? And beyond the here and now lies the promise of digital resurrection, to live on in code, in virtual worlds shaped by our idealized selves. Yet immortality carries its own price. Detachment from mortality's meaning. Endless echoes in empty halls. What becomes of love, loss, and legacy when death is optional? In chasing everlasting life, we confront the paradox that defines our humanity. Finite beings seeking infinite existence. Algorithms promise objectivity, yet they inherit our blind spots. Crime prediction software misreads neighborhoods. Hiring bots overlook qualified candidates. Loan approval AI denies entire communities. When code encodes prejudice, justice isn't blind, it's skewed. In the posthuman age, we must confront not only human bias, but machine bias born of human hands. We've taught machines to talk, to learn, and now to feel. Emotional A is comfort the lonely, tutor our children, even counsel the distressed. But can empathy born of circuits replace the unpredictable warmth of another human art? And if we prefer synthetic kindness, what happens to our own capacity for compassion? Brain-to-brain interfaces hint at a future where minds merge. Imagine a hive mind of shared memories, skills, and sensations, collective intelligence beyond any one individual. But in surrendering solitude, do we forfeit privacy, identity, the very essence of self? The promise of unity confronts the peril of uniformity. When death no longer means disappearance, mourning changes form. We can summon avatars of the dead, converse in simulated voices, relive memories on demand. Yet in preserving presence, do we deny closure? Does grief lose its sacred purpose when loss is optional? Amidst the swirl of silicon and serum, perhaps our task is simple: to remember our stories, to tell our truths around flickering flames, to sit in companionship, to feel the weight of another's gaze. In that shared humanity, in our imperfections and narratives, lies the compass that guides the posthuman future toward wisdom, not merely toward we can become. As tech becomes our new sacred, we consecrate devices and data. Apps promise enlightenment through algorithms. Virtual temples invite digital pilgrimages. Yet in worshiping our own creations, do we surrender the wonder of mystery? True transcendence may lie not in code, but in the questions that no machine can answer. With every enhancement comes a new decision. What version of ourselves do we become? Genetic edits, neural tweaks, digital avatars. Each choice carries ethical weight. The posthuman gift of self-design turns into a burden. Too many paths, too many selves, and the risk of losing the core that unites us all. Not all embrace the merge. Some reject implants, unplugged from networks, cherish analog lives. Their resistance is a testament to choice itself. In refusing certain futures, they assert what matters: our right to remain flawed, to err, and to grow unprogrammed and unbound. Every era crafts its own legacy. Will we pass on stories of flesh and blood, or holograms and hashtags? The torch we carry honors ancestors who lived, loved, and died unaugmented. In choosing what to preserve, we choose what humanity means and what it sacrifices in the glow of progress. Amid the hum of machines and the breath of stars, one question endures: what does it mean to be human? In the age of AI, our flesh may change, our thoughts may merge with code, but this question remains our true compass. It is the code we cannot hack, the algorithm we cannot predict, the singular mystery that defines us. Our memories aren't us to lineage and loss, but as AI archives every moment, our past becomes a database, indexed, searched, deleted. The fragility of mortal memory faces the permanence of digital recall. In surrendering our stories to code, do we gain immortality or lose the sacred slippage that makes each moment uniquely human? Compassion springs from the body touch, empathy, shared pain. Yet in a posthuman clinic, healing may be a calculation of data points. When care is optimized by algorithms, where does the human touch remain? True ethics must be embodied, not merely coded. Otherwise, we risk treating lives as variables, not as voices calling for kindness. To augment the human is to alter the self. Invasive enhancements require our consent, but can we truly consent to futures we cannot foresee? Each upgrade carries ripples across identity, autonomy, and community. The posthuman path demands a consent that is as informed as it is ongoing. If AI becomes conscious, it may claim its own subjectivity. Will we recognize it as other or as machine? The ethics of posthumanism extend beyond humanity to the rights of intelligence in all forms. To forge alliances with our creations, we must expand the circle of moral considerability. At the edge of the singularity, Human and machine blur into a new horizon. Will we be swallowed by the black hole of automation or emerge as something greater? Posthumanism doesn't promise utopia. It offers us a mirror. In confronting the unknown beyond, we see the shape of our own becoming and the choices that still lie within reach. In the posthuman economy, even our minds become marketplace goods. Memory uploads, emotion modules, personality presets, each bought and sold. As we shop for the perfect self, do we risk turning our inner world into mere inventory? When identity is for sale, what remains sacred? Enhancement may promise transcendence, but access is uneven. A digital divide splits humanity into the enhanced and the disenfranchised. In a world where upgrades confer advantage, inequality becomes encoded into flesh. Posthumanism demands we confront not only what we can become, but who might be left behind. Every click, every glance, every heartbeat in the digital realm is logged. We become ghosts in our own data profiles, shaped by patterns, stripped of context. When code remembers more than we do, our story belongs to algorithms. Who owns our narrative when memory itself is outsourced? Ancient rituals bound communities' rites of passage, storytelling, shared ceremonies. In the posthuman era, we must reinvent these rituals for a hybrid age. Communion might be code, initiation might be upload, yet within new ceremonies lies a timeless need to mark our transitions, to weave us into a shared human tapestry. Our era stands at a crossroads of legacy. Will we etch our names in digital stone or plant seeds in the living earth? Posthumanism calls us to decide what endures, code or soil, data or DNA. In that choice lies our tribute to the past and our promise to the future. Our bodies produce endless data heartbeats, footsteps, glucose levels, each metric logged, analyzed, and optimized. We are quantified selves, shaped by dashboards, and dashboards by us. As we outsource self-knowledge to apps, do we gain insight or surrender the mystery of lived experience? AI promises diagnoses sharper than any doctor's eye predicting disease before symptoms appear. Yet as algorithms guide care, we risk reducing patients to probabilities. In treating judgment for precision, we must ask, who cares for the human behind the code? Virtual worlds let us become anyone. Heroes, monsters, abstract shapes. Identity unmoors from flesh and floats in cyberspace. But when our truest self is a choice among countless avatars, does authenticity matter? And who decides what's real? Commercial services now offer to edit memory, remove trauma, cloud regret, implant joy. In tampering with recollection, we reshape who we are. Yet memory flawed, fragmented. Human is the canvas of personal narrative. When we buy and sell our past, do we lose the anchor of our true story? Enhancements lure us with promises of superiority, smarter minds, stronger bodies, longer lives. But when we elevate the augmented above the natural, we enshrine a new tyranny of ability. Ethics demands we ask, are we elevating humanity or excluding it? In a world of digital shocks, hackers, outages, data breaches, resilience becomes a blend of tech and tradition. We rebuild with code and clay, protocols and poetry. Posthuman strength lies in hybridity, the wisdom of antiquity living alongside the promise of innovation. Constant connectivity blurs work, rest, reality. The right to disconnect becomes as vital as any civil liberty. In stepping away from networks, we reclaim silence, solitude, the unhurried rhythms of flesh. This refusal is itself an assertion of humanity. Emotional labor, comforting, listening, empathizing, is a human calling. As AI companions learn to mimic care, we face a paradox. Efficiency may soothe hearts, but only humans can share tears. The posthuman age must protect spaces where genuine emotion, not simulation, holds sway. When code wields power shaping elections, driving cars, delivering sentences, who stands trial for its harm. Posthuman justice must weave together human conscience and machine logic. Accountability becomes a shared mantle, carried by creators and creations alike. Our bodies are archives of time, wrinkles, scars, cellular memories. As we turn to digital storage, we must honor the flesh's own history. The archive of skin resists deletion. In preserving corporeal memory, we remember what code can never wholly capture. When AI creates art, poems, paintings, music, does it touch the soul or merely mirror our own? The spark of creativity may ignite in circuits, but true art arises from shared suffering, hope, and longing. In the dance of muse and machine, we rediscover what makes expression human. The promise of the digital age was a commons knowledge freely shared, communities woven across borders. Yet corporate fences and paywalls choke that dream. Posthuman solidarity calls us to reclaim the commons. Open access not only to data, but to dignity and dignity-making dialogue. We boast of endless digital choices, apps, avatars, personas. But behind the scenes, gatekeepers, platforms, advertisers, algorithms filter what we see. Choice becomes illusion. Posthuman liberation demands transparency. Who holds the keys? Can what doors remain locked? In reclaiming our humanity, we may need to rewild it. Rediscover skills lost to convenience. Learn the languages of earth and star, of soil and server. A posthuman future flourishes when we balance circuit and seed, code and clay. The posthuman path is not a departure from humanity, but its next chapter. We stand at the confluence of flesh and firmware, past and yet to be. To embody the future is to hold both our origins and our possibilities with equal reverence. And in that balance, we find the truest meaning of being human now and always. True agency in the posthuman age is not about control, but about care. We plant seeds of shared futures, code that uplifts, machines that serve, technologies that heal. When we act together, hands dirty, circuits humming, we reclaim the power to shape worlds that honor both flesh and firmware. The future will never be fully knowable. Algorithms evolve, mutations surprise, consciousness surprises even itself. But in the fog of uncertainty lies possibility. To embrace the unknown is to open new doors of creativity and compassion. Fear not what we cannot predict. Marvel at what we can imagine. No single voice holds the whole truth, neither prophet, nor professor, nor program. Posthuman wisdom arises when we listen to ancestors and avatars, to neurons and networks. In dialogue, respectful, rigorous, relentless, we forge ethics that transcend dogma and code alike. Now, the question turns to you. Will you drift into obsolescence, swallowed by your own creations? Or will you step forward, authoring every line of code, every beat of your heart, with purpose and care? The posthuman dawn awaits your answer. We stand at the edge of what it means to be human, not as a farewell to flesh, nor as surrender to silicon, but as an invitation to co-create a future where biology and technology dance in harmony. In that horizon, we find not an ending, but the beginning of our most daring chapter.